Oh, we're live.
Ready?
I'm like rubbing my eye. We're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to BB2. We're live. We're
Yep.
live. I see live. Yeah. Welcome to Big Brother 902 or BB Breakdown 902. Every week, Lindsay and I break down Big Brother. We are two East Coast Canada that love to talk Big Brother. So we're doing it on this platform. So we're going to get right into it. We know the VMAs are on. We're not sure if we really even have anyone watching right now. Hopefully there'll be some people that'll tune in later after the fact. If not, that's okay. We enjoy doing this. So irregardless, we'll get into it. So we're just going to leave. We've been off for about a week and a half. So we're going to leave off where I remember leaving off, which was where Natalie wins HOH, and it's a dark room contest. Basically, you have to stack the ring. She wins HOH. Michelle had an advantage from the prior pie eating contest episode, which they cut Polly out of on that extra Friday night. And anyhow, her advantage in the HOH, I think, was she got a little bit of extra time to put some rings on or something. Anyway, that didn't help her being the first one. However, she did end up getting the care package, which made her co-HOH, and they ended up nominating Meech nominated Paul and Natalie nominated Victor because Nicole got in their ear and convinced them that they were the strongest duo and they were after James and Natalie. So this comes out somehow, and Paul blows up on Nicole in the kitchen. It was a huge blow up, even huger on feeds. What did you think of that? Did you see that coming? Are you surprised with how confrontational Paul was this week, having been nominated and being on the block
Yeah, I
before
think it was
HOH
just a
was
defense
played, or
mechanism.
before veto? Excuse me.
I think it's just a defense mechanism. Like, I think he was just like upset and he was like, I'm not going to hold back. And I think his wires got crossed a little bit, and he was just mad that he was up there. But it's inevitable that he was going to go up anyway. So I think he was just heated, but it was a really great argument. And it was also amazing watching Corey come out of those diary rooms having no idea what was going on. I know that like they can edit things, but that didn't even look edited. He just seemed like completely like unaware that that was happening. It was so funny.
Yeah, he was oblivious for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm loving that Big Brother is finally highlighting the fact that Corey's a deer in headlights the whole time through
Yeah.
everything. But anyway, and then we fast forward to the veto competition, which was called Storm Watch, where all night they had to stay up to listen to the Storm Watch and which house guest, which storm. That's a tongue twister. So all night supposed to be staying up listening to these announcements, and most people were sleeping. The only person that kind of rallied and stayed up all night and studied was Paul, which inevitably helped him to win and get every single Stormwatch question right in that torrential downpour and windstorm. I think he deserved it. I was super happy that he pulled through, and he ended up pulling himself off the block, of course, because he knew he was the target.
Oh.
Which them to nominate Corey. And I think they had going onward, I think Paul and Victor had a great plan in terms of like their plan was Paul would seclude himself with Nicole and Corey looking like he was teaming up with them, and Victor would come and look like the lonely victim. I think they had a great plan. I don't know how they didn't pull it off. I don't think maybe Victor was as convincing as they'd hoped or Paul had hoped he'd be. What do you think of this tactic, and where do you think they failed at convincing Nicole and Natalie and Meech that Victor should stay?
I think that at this late in the game, trying to convince something like that is a joke. And I think that like assuming people will be dumb is a bad assumption. And I think that people are naturally not that clueless. And they obviously have been very, very close, very friendly. And Victor has relied on him. And all of a sudden just to be like, oh, I'm not friends with him. No. And I think everybody else saw through that too. So as much as they tried it and like it was edited to look like, oh, wow, it's sides versus sides. I mean, I think they're probably smarter. And James knew it. And that's why he made the decision he made. That's what I think. Don't think
Yeah.
people are dumb because they're not.
Yeah, it was I think it was a good idea, but I just don't think that they were masterful enough in pulling it off. And I think that Nicole and Corey probably just backed up the fact that they're not at all working with Paul. If they came to them, which we didn't see on the live show, of course, they came to them saying, "Are you working with Paul?" They were probably like, "God, no, we want him out." So I think as much as it was a good idea in theory, it's not something that really could go into practice this late in the game. And then the best part of this episode we're going to talk about now, which is when Paulie enters the jury house and he receives, I wrote so many notes on Paulie entering the jury house. It was amazing. I've watched that little segment 3 times now. There's so many wonderful gifts out there on from Jury House. I must say this is the best footage of Jury House we've seen, I think, in Big Brother history. I agree with many people that are tweeting that out. So he enters, and Bridget's reaction was that person to person, she doesn't respect him. That's what she told Paulie. And then Devon said to him, she had so many wisecracks, but she's like, "You don't look like," sorry, I have a cold. "You don't look like Paul anymore." That's good. That was my favorite. And then Sakia, I was really shocked in how she just kept saying bitch over and over again. I couldn't hear any of her like arguments or
I thought it was all for
rebuttals.
TV over it. Didn't like her at all in that moment.
No?
No, I thought it was fake. It was fake. It was Davon being like, "Aren't you going to say anything?" And then she got all heated. And I was like, okay, well, now you're going to speak because your friend's like egging you on. It seemed fake. And it seemed like it was for television, which obviously it is. It just seemed really like, obviously she probably is quite annoyed and they probably haven't talked. And I get all that. But at the same time, like, I didn't like it myself.
Well, Paulie called her out too, saying that you're doing this all for TV.
Well, Paulie's an
And
asshole, so that's how I feel.
oh,
I'm not necessarily with Davon. I'm not necessarily with Zakia. Like, who I'm behind is Bridget. I think that she's with a bigger message on that, and I think like she's just saying you can't talk about women that way, and it's wrong what you do, and that is the bigger thing that I think we should be talking about. That's what I think. Because he was a dick, and I think his family
yeah,
should be ashamed of him, and I think he should be ashamed of himself.
I
That's what
agree.
I think.
Like he several times that this season is of catty and petty women, and you guys are just proving it. And what else did he say? He calls Bridget close-minded, and then he was cocky enough to say, "I want to succeed more than I can breathe, so this is definitely the reason I'm going to get back in the house." He was just I don't actually think that he's realizes how cocky he actually is. I think he thinks that he's like very much a gentleman, just speaking the truth, and that all of his gameplay in the house was gameplay. But then he comes out of the house saying it's all over, the game's over, but then proceeds to call them catty and petty.
It was
So
arrogant.
is that the type of person you are? Just right. You just said the game was over and that you're no longer playing the game, yet you're calling 3 women catty and petty. And the heated argument hadn't even
But he
started
wasn't
at
just
that
he
point.
wasn't just
So
calling them catty and petty, he was calling women catty and petty. Like women, like all female. Like it was so arrogant. I had no time for it. I really didn't like it. I think he was trying to be funny, but I don't know what he was trying to do. But I'll tell you, like, if he had gone to that jury house and said, "Hey, it's a game and I effed up and I shouldn't have been that way and I apologize," he may have had some dignity. But he didn't do that. And I just have no respect for somebody like that. So I think his family is probably
yeah,
so embarrassed.
I agree. Well, they're his family, so regardless of what he does, they have to stand behind him.
Well, yeah, obviously,
Because
but
that's what family does.
I'm just saying they're
Oh
probably
yeah.
pretty disappointed in him. Like that's embarrassing. Because Corey
Compared
wasn't
to what
like
happened,
that at all. Cody,
yeah,
whatever.
Cody what didn't act like
No.
No,
Oh,
they were they're
that made
completely
me so
different.
mad. Anyway, keep going. I'm
And who
sorry.
knows, like, who knows how Cody is outside the house? We just saw what we saw. However, from what I saw in like on live shows and on live feeds last year, or not last year, the year before when Cody played, he was not like that. He was very respectful of women and of all people in general. So I don't know how two of the same parents can end up so differently. But anyway, moving on. It was explosive and I enjoyed it. I did watch it several times. Then we move on to where we're currently at, which is the endurance competition. So they're bringing back yet another player. So they told the jurors that one of you will be re-entering the Big Brother house. And so they did the classic jury move where they put them all on a wall and see who lasts the longest. This started in Judd's season, and it's it's kind of carried forward as the Hallmark juror competition, really. So it's giving the juror the opportunity to become HOH and return to the game. Did you appreciate the fact that we're recycling an old Big Brother competition, or would you have liked to seen a different way for the juror to come back?
I think had they had America vote to have people come back, you would have had Davon come in, and it would have probably mixed it up a lot more. It was inevitable if you put a challenge competition. Like, they all said it in jury. Like, if Victor comes back, we're screwed. And like I've said it before on this, and I'll say it again, I think every attempt at their big twist has been a massive fail this season. And it was again. And it was just like, when I heard that who got back in, I was just like, okay, well, this is stupid. And I guess for me, at this point, I'm a little bit frustrated with the show because I'm just like, that was such a crap way to have that play out. And it just like nothing happened. So I thought it was silly,
Yeah.
personally. I think if they had done that with the
I
HOH,
agree.
it would have been fine. But do it differently for the juror to come in.
Well, it really would have been down competition between I haven't seen it play out to see who the final jurors left standing were, but for this competition was really made for Victor because he's a comp beast, and Bridget. Like, I think Bridget had a fair shot of winning this endurance comp. However, I think most people in America / Canada would have loved to see Davon come back, mix it up, spice up that house, flip it upside down, do some deals, do some twisting, see how she could be reintegrated into the game, and see if she could take it home, much like Gary did to final 2 in Big Brother Canada season 1. I really, really was hoping for a Davon return and a Davon final 2, but it's not going to end up happening that way, and it's very sad. Moving on, though, I just feel like last week was a waste of time. I feel like it's
We're very
like
frustrated.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen somebody other than Victor come back. I feel like he had a second chance. He got evicted. Let's give somebody else a second chance. That's how I felt about it. But he's back, and it doesn't look like he's going home. So we did a vote on our Twitter page in terms of the 2 people that are nominated, Paul and Meech, who we think is going to go home. And according to all your voting, I think we had 89 or 90 votes. 84% of you think Meech is going home. So thanks for tuning in and voting on our Twitter page. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going home this week from Nicole's nominations? Because Nicole, spoiler alert, ends up winning HOH and veto this week. And she nominates and keeps the same nominations up as Paul and Meech is her target. What do you think of this?
I haven't been following along with all the feeds and everything, like on the tweets and stuff. So I'm kind of shocked to hear that like everyone thinks Michelle's going home, because like at this point you get Paul out. If Paul's on the target, you have to get Paul out. And I don't know, but I guess maybe he's working with people. I don't know what's happening in that house right now. I'm frustrated. Get Michelle out because she cries a lot and she's going to be annoying. And all Nicole put her up was for personal reasons. It wasn't even strategic. Like, I'm so frustrated. I'm done.
Well, at least Nicole is earning her spot at least earning her spot in the finals. She has had 2 HOH wins and 1 veto win now. Yes, many people think she's lied around and just entertained Corey all season. However, she has strategized. She has been part of a big alliance. She has, for the first half, made it entertaining to see a Veterans Alliance. I think she's played a well-rounded game. I haven't enjoyed who she paired herself up with in a showmance. However, I think she did a really good job of covering her tracks, especially with the Paul blow up in her face. She kept her cool, and she's a real contender. In terms of who you see as contending or contenders, we know I want Paul to win. Who do you want to win that's left in the house?
I would love it if Paul won. I think he deserves it more than anyone. If he walks out the house, I don't really care. There's no one I'll be behind. I'll just watch it to watch it. Like I think that he is at least playing it in a really good way. Like I guess James, because I like James and he's funny, but he hasn't really like played. He just does what people tell him to do. And when he does have to actually play, he seems to be torn by the whole experience. It's like, well, you're in Big Brother. What did you think was gonna happen? I don't know. Like, and then like Natalie just like scurries after him, and Nicole and her like I have to be with a man situation. I'm very frustrated. Before we came on live, I was just like, I'm so mad at this show, and if we weren't doing this, I would be throwing in the towel for the first time ever in Big Brother history. That's how frustrated I am, because I'm just like, what are they doing in there? Like, Natalie at least keeps her composure. Like, she's pretty good in hot, heated situations. She's just like, I'm not going to talk about this right now, or you're being irrational, or like, I like the fact that she's like got a good head on her shoulders. But if she wins it, like, no, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, if Paul gets voted out, my next pick would have to be. I still like Natalie. I don't care if there's people hating on her. I know production, and there's so much rumor right now about production heavily swaying Natalie and Meech's HOH and brainwashing Natalie to believe that the couples should be working together. And so there's all this like Twitter rumor that production got involved, and there is actually some evidence too between Natalie and Nicole talking about it on feeds, how like, oh, this is what we want. Like they're all, I don't know why, but Natalie and James are pretty obsessed about what America thinks of them, and the opinion America has on them. It sways heavily on how they're playing the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So much to the question at the beginning of the season when Jeff was like, would you rather be hated $100,000 or would you rather be loved by America and lose? Like, I think they would rather be loved by America and lose than, like, I think they're playing for America's favorite player, James and Natalie, and that's unfortunate. So in saying that, I think she would be if Paul doesn't make it. Nicole, and I know I'm going to get so much like backlash from the people that do follow us, because I haven't been saying I'm Team Nicole any of this game, but excuse me, she's really just stuck to her game and not like been swayed too much for personal reasons. I think the reason she's targeting Meech is because she knew that Meech had her head on the chopping block if she had anything to do with the replacement nom on Meech's HOH, or if Meech became HOH, Nicole would be going up. And so I think she's getting Meech before she got. So you know what I mean? So she's kind of covering her in that regard. So I hope Paul wins, but if not, I guess I'm Team Nicole.
They have to get him out this week. They
Who would have thought? Yeah, I don't think they're going to. And I'm rooting for Paul. If they don't get him out this week, he's, I think, smooth sailing. I think he can pull out a win, maybe in one of the endurance comps, hopefully, and hopefully make it to final 2 or final 3. I think if he makes it to final 2 with a couple, it's going to be really tricky for him. He'll have to win the final HOH to make it to final 2, because no couple is going to take Paul over the other couple member, I don't think. So no. He's got his work cut out.
He'll do it.
All right. I hope so.
Maybe I should have said Corey Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say maybe I should have said Corey because he's the only player I have left on my side. I think the only person.
Oh,
Oh,
you have Nicole.
oh, right. See, I don't even believe in my two people.
Corey and Nicole.
Ugh.
That we're referring to our fantasy draft. So if you go along all season, we've drafted people at the beginning of our season. You can find that draft picks at the beginning of season 18 in our YouTube channel. I'll tweet out a picture tonight of how it looks right now. I've updated it with spoilers, so anybody that doesn't want to be updated on spoilers.
Basically, I've lost. Like, I've lost this season. No way I've won it all. So,
No, Nicole won an HOH and a veto for you.
yay. I have to rely on the two of them.
Polly won you a lot of games.
Yeah, Polly, ironically, was my only saving grace, and I'm like, I hate him. Anyway, I'm done.
Anything you want to add before we say adios for another week?
Thank you for watching, and I'm sorry I'm so angry and frustrated with the show. Hopefully it gets better this week.
Again, thanks to everybody that tuned in last week and this week live, if any of you are out there in live world and not watching the VMAs. If you watch us after the fact, we always appreciate that as well. If you want to tweet at us or send us any questions and or comments, we will definitely mention them on our broadcast as always. Thank you, and we'll be tweeting out when we're back next week. Bye.
Bye.